Well, we've heard of antioxidants before. We have your blueberries and all sorts of vitamins. And so the question you may have is, how is hydrogen gas different than any of these other antioxidants? And I'll briefly talk about a few reasons why. Number one, in that article in 2007, it mentions that hydrogen gas could act as a therapeutic antioxidant by selectively scavenging the toxic radicals. So it's really the emphasis on the selective. And what that means is, in your body, as we mentioned, you have many free radicals or reactive oxygen species. And the fact is, not all of them are bad. Some of them are actually very good for you. So you have some of these free radicals, reactive oxygen species, are actually very important signaling molecules. They help for your immunity, like your white blood cells, for vascularization, your endothelial or your widening of the blood vessels to help blood perfusion. All those are free radicals. Nitric oxide, that's a free radical. It's very good for you, very important for you. So you don't want to scavenge everything all the time. You need some of these oxidation, some of these oxidants. Well, hydrogen gas actually will only scavenge the toxic free radicals, the ones that are very, very damaging, such as the hydroxyl radical. And that's because hydrogen gas is more mild in that it's not able to react with things like nitric oxide or superoxide radical, but will only react with very toxic radicals that are truly just cell damaging, like the hydroxyl radical, which is produced via the Fenton reaction in the mitochondria. So that's the first thing to consider, is hydrogen gas has a superior than many other antioxidants in that, number one, it's selective. It's only going to go after the bad guys, leaving the good guys to do their job. Okay? The next one to consider is hydrogen gas has very high bioavailability. And bioavailability is a very important thing to consider because in order for an antioxidant or any nutraceutical or drug or anything to have any benefit to the cell, it has to actually get into the cell, and even more so into the exact location where certain damage or certain things are occurring. So when we talk about the production of free radicals, those mainly occur inside of the mitochondria, which is an organelle inside of the cell, and these free radicals are produced. So in order for hydrogen gas to really go in there and selectively scavenge those toxic radicals, it needs to enter the cell. Well, the things that determine the bioavailability the most are, number one, size. Well, guess what? Hydrogen gas is the smallest molecule in the whole universe. It's smaller than oxygen. That allows it to easily and quickly diffuse into the subcellular compartments and through the blood-brain barrier or everywhere, easier than virtually any other antioxidant. So that's size. The other thing that also determines bioavailability is its charge or its polarity. Well, hydrogen gas is nonpolar, it's neutral, and that allows it also to very, very easily diffuse through the cell as well and get right to those hydroxyl radicals and scavenge them, neutralize them. So now we have selectivity. We also have its high bioavailability. And the next one is about the byproduct. When hydrogen gas does scavenge the toxic radicals, there's no toxic byproduct. In fact, the byproduct is simply water. And if you consider other antioxidants, for example, if you have an antioxidant and that antioxidant gives away its electrons, well, now this antioxidant is lacking electrons, so it's not an antioxidant. In fact, it could be a pro-oxidant that could be even damaging to the body. So the body has to rejuvenate it with maybe NADPH equivalents or glutathione or different things. It has to clear it or metabolize it. It's got to get out of the system somehow or else it could be damaging. Whereas with hydrogen gas will react with those hydroxyl radicals and will convert them to water. And that's the byproduct. Hydrogen plus oxygen equals water. So we've talked about its selectivity, we've talked about its bioavailability, and we've talked about that there's no toxic byproducts.